Riffle those chips, swipe up your cards and get your poker face on. Coming up, big money on the line in a new poker tournament that will bring you the best in the business from the hottest game in the world, poker. Welcome to the partypoker.net World Open, where you'll see some of the biggest names in the game bullying, bluffing and battling it out for a piece of a $500,000 prize pool. Before we start our heat stages, we've given 6 celebrities from the world of sport and television a chance to qualify for the main event. They're used to acting out roles and have that competitive streak, but have they got what it takes to become a poker pro? Let's head over to our commentary team, Jessie May and Kenna James.
Good evening, I'm Jessie May, thrilled to be joined by an original cowboy, poker player Kenna James. Kenna, welcome to this side of the pond.
Oh, thank you, Jesse. It's wonderful to be here. I'm really excited about tonight's match.
How do you find poker over here in England?
Oh, it's wonderful. The players are very astute. And you know, at the heart of it, it's just a game, and we're going to be entertained by tonight by some wonderful celebrities.
Yeah, celebrity match to kick off. Now, what do you think about celebrities playing poker? Can they learn to play?
Well, that's the wonderful thing. Everybody plays poker, you know, from the common person to the celebrity, to mom and dad around the kitchen table, and we're certainly going to have a fun time around the kitchen table tonight.
Well, they won't be scared by the cameras, that's for sure. Let's see who's at the table and where they're sitting.
I'm Zoe Anderson and I've had about 1 week's of poker experience. To be honest, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing.
I'm Matt Dawson. I used to play a bit of rugby, but more into my golf and poker these days. I like to be probably a little bit too aggressive, so I'm just trying to calm myself down a little bit because I get very excited. Now that I'm retired, I should be a little bit more relaxed and have less competitive spirit, but it hasn't worked out that way.
Hello, my name is Michael Greco. I've played poker for about 2 years now, and I'm getting quite good at it at the moment. I've played in quite a few televised tournaments, and I think it does give you a little bit of an edge because you have experience of knowing what type of poker you want to play, and I think if you haven't played on a TV table before, you tend to get a bit scared and you don't want to look like you're folding the best hand and things. But I think you should just play your game. Today I've learned from a hell of a lot of experiences from past TV tournaments, and I'm going to be playing a different game today.
My name's Norman Pace. My poker experience, I've been playing about 4 years now. I'm afraid I am the possessor of testosterone, so occasionally I've been known to give the gimlet eye to people. Yeah, I hide it well though. I'm sort of a nice bloke, but underneath that I'm churning with a desire to win.
My name is Billy Murray, and my poker experience is absolutely nil. It's a matter of luck, really, what you're dealt with. You have to deal with the hand you're dealt with.
My name's Steve Backley. I am a retired javelin thrower. When you are a retired sportsman, it's very hard to replace the buzz of competing. But this does a damn good job, I tell you. It's very similar. Sitting there and the nerves that, if you've got a good hand or whatever, and you're being aggressive, the similar adrenaline feeling is the same as competing at the Olympics.
Well, that's the lineup. Tough lineup, actually, celebrity-wise. A couple of these players have some experience. 2 actors on the table, Kenna.
Well, you know, Jesse, I have played with Michael Greco in Monte Carlo Millions, and that's a $25,000 buy-in tournament. So this gentleman has some experience.
Yeah, Greco's very serious. And, I mean, the fact that that actors, they need to conceal their emotions or have emotions anyway, that should suit them at the poker table.
Right, because, you know, you feel what your characters feel, and so it's easier to feel what's going on inside your opponents.
And you're a big fan of body language, I understand, at the poker table.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we have 2 sport athletes on the table, and they have a competitive nature. So,
can't hurt.
It can't hurt them at all. That's going to be very interesting to watch.
Remember, the winner tonight goes straight through to the main draw. Let's see how how the game's going to get on. Time to shuffle up and steal here at the World Open.
Lights, camera, action.
Players beginning this game.
Put the cookie list on hold.
100,000 each in tournament chips. The yellow chips worth 1,000. Blues are 2, and the reds 5,000 apiece. Only the winner going through into the main draw of this $500,000 prize pool tournament. And that there, Matt Dawson, very well-regarded rugby international player for England in his prime. And Michael Greco, probably the favorite here tonight, Kenna. I mean, you said you played with him before.
Yes, he's played in the $25,000 buy-in tournament before, so he has some experience that's going to bode well for him tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Greco has not only done very well in celebrity poker events, he's made final tables of several professional poker events. So he can play a little bit.
Tough competitor, and not only that, he looks well. I mean, look at that. Huh? Has a beautiful rainbow colored shirt on tonight.
Norman Pace there. He just recently won a celebrity poker event. Quite enjoys his poker game, although
raise.
Generally regarded that his wife is a better player than he is, but that's no shame. She's a very, very accomplished poker player.
Steve Backley bringing it in for a raise on the button with ace-5, so he obviously knows his hand values. A very reasonable raising hand on the button with ace-high. Flops second pair.
Yeah, he's going to enjoy that, isn't he?
Yep. Not much for Dawson. King-3 offsuit. No pair, no draw. Simple bet by Backley should win this pot.
Backley,
8,000. Pass.
Olympic javelin player, and he's hurled a bet in there. Took the pot.
A javelin thrower. How do you become a javelin thrower? What do you are you throwing paper airplanes, when you're a kid and you say, hey, I think I can, do javelin?
Guess he can hurl.
Wow. Definitely a specialty.
Lines beginning here, 1 and 2,000.
Oh, did I tell you you're not allowed to raise my big
we've seen some of these celebrity events where players just call every hand, but this sort of has a professional feel to it. Players not liking their cards, folding up shop.
Yep. Here, pocket fives.
I'm actually on raise.
Zoe Murray.
Okay.
Very well
Raising
known
up to
actor.
4,000 total.
Ooh. Steve Backley waking up with pocket tens, a very strong hand.
Call.
Elects to flat call.
I mean, I guess calling or re-raising would be the options there, Kenna.
Yeah, I like re-raising, but now look at this. The beautiful Zoe Anderson
4,000
actress
more,
model
8 total. Pass.
also has a reasonable starting hand with ace-jack, has 2 overs. She could get lucky and flop a pair here and take the lead very quickly.
Well, she's got the lead now. She's re-raised from 4,000 to, I believe, 10,000. So perhaps it's just 8,000, excuse me. And this pot's going to get big very quickly.
Yeah, I like this. I like her taking control, putting her opponents at a decision rather than, just calling and letting them push her over because, especially women at the table, you can think that they're just a pushover.
I mean, if you're not very experienced at poker, Kenna, aggression is never at a line, is it?
Right, it's never a bad thing. However, you got to show some respect for your opponents, and she does. She checks here.
Free card here, and this is going to be trouble for Steve Backley because Billy Murray's hit 3 5s.
3 5s, and Backley's still with an overpair, so it's very reasonable to think,
8,000.
for him to think that he has the best hand here.
Very cagey check by Billy Murray there. He's hit his set.
Wow, so even, even the celebrities know how to slow play.
Bet's 8,000, and poor Zoe Anderson is now drawing dead.
Okay.
Right, he gets away from the hand. Very good.
Great fold, actually.
Very nice.
We're going to see a raise here.
Cool.
Murray playing this very cagey river card to come. Backley needs a 10.
It's an ace.
Zoe Anderson's kicking herself right now. She's saying, I would have had a pair of aces.
Now, very interesting. Billy Murray checking his 3 5s. Is he checking to trap, or is he checking that he's really worried that his opponent might have a straight?
16,000.
We're about to find out. And I think Murray's passed.
No.
You know, it's entirely possible, Kenna, that he's missed the 5, that he didn't see it come on the turn.
Or it's maybe he thought he just had a pair of 5s. Certainly, he could not have realized he had 3 5s.
People have gone blue.
neglecting them, aren't they?
You know, that is an actor who has forgotten his lines.
Billy Murray.
He's dropped the script.
Yeah, laying down 3 5s there. He needs the prompter.
Get the prompter in there.
On Saturday, 2 shows.
Yeah.
Well, the tragedy of that last play is that Billy Murray, instead of having
Slippy
84,000, should have at least
Where are you on the moment?
50.
A little theatre called the Chocolate Factory near London Bridge Station.
Yeah, it's a very tough thing to fight against. I mean, in this kind of format, Kenna, just one table. You can't let those pots get away, can you?
No, you can't afford very many mistakes. Here he has the ace-8 of clubs. Once again, he takes the lead against Backley, who makes the call with king 10. The beautiful Zoe Anderson. A little speculative with Jack Deuce. Huh?
Well, it was only 2,000, I guess. It does seem kind of speculative. It's looking to be about a family pot.
Raise to 4,000
Except
total.
Matt Dawson has pumped it up. Dawson, of course, a rugby player. So he's quite used to this big scrum, you know, with everybody having all kinds of hands. Not intimidating.
He likes the huddle, huh?
Yeah,
he likes getting them all in there and huddling together and.
They won't mind mixing it up with 5 or 6 guys at one time. That's for sure.
Pushing the pile. He's really trying to push with ace-5 here, and I don't see anybody going away at this point.
Raise.
As the pot grows, what happens is players get excited because they see the amount of money that they can win, and we can't forget that the winner here moves on to the semis to play for a lot of cash.
Yeah, well, they're actually going to move into the main draw. I think the winner here will be in the first. So, I mean, these celebrities, they've got a tough gig here. They've got to win this heat and then beat a whole bunch of pros and internet qualifiers just to get to that semi. But it's been done before in televised poker.
Very interesting. Forgot what I got.
Paycheck.
Oh yeah, aces.
There's a raise and a re-raise this hand, Kenna, but the bets weren't that big, were they? I mean, it is no limit hold'em, isn't it? You can bet your whole stack.
Check.
Right.
Check.
As we go to the flop, it is 8 high, and Billy Murray flopping top pair.
All checked.
Hopefully, he'll hold on to this one.
It's good right now. It's been checked to Dawson, who is the dealer, and Dawson gave a free card. That's hit Norman Pace with 3 3s.
8,000.
And Pace, a player, Kenna, who knows how to maximize a good hand.
Call. Pass.
I mean, Norman probably wouldn't have called that bet on the flop, would he have?
Pass.
Yes. I'm interested to see what Billy Murray does here. Oh my goodness! Lightning in a jar, full house for Billy Murray. Pace, not realizing what he's up against, fires right into him. I think this time Billy Murray realizes what he has.
Called.
You got an 8?
Yeah, I mean, there's only 2 hands that beat Billy Murray right now. Full house with an 8 or 4 3s. And he's just called here to win this pot. He's gone one better. And
somebody tell Billy Murray that, you know, quads is very unlikely in this game.
Nice win.
Billy Murray's an actor.
Billy Murray trying to make the royal flush, or quads, I guess, before he puts pressure in the pot.
You'll need to know what beats what in poker, so let's check out the ranking of hands in Texas Hold'em.
Every 5-card poker hand falls into the official ranking of poker hands. At the bottom, high card only. Higher than that is 1 pair. 2 pair is higher still, and then 3 of a kind, sometimes called a set. A straight is 5 cards in a row of any suit. Aces play high or low in straights, and a flush is 5 cards of the same suit in any order. A full house is 3 of a kind plus a pair. 4 of a kind is what it says, and a straight flush is what you're looking for. That's 5 cards in a row, all the same suit. Tap yourself on the back if you get a royal flush. That's a straight flush, ace high.
Well,
Billy Murray, Kenna, he's folded 3 5s. He called with his full house. It might be a case of not really knowing how to value hands and hold them.
Well, you know, this is a new element for them. They are comfortable in front of the cameras, but with the cards and the cameras, it's a new game. And, you know, it's going to take a little while for them to feel comfortable and really understand the hand values. But they're out there, they're having a good time, and it's certainly fun to watch.
Interestingly enough, Billy Murray, his stack's in no damage right now. I mean, he has over 100,000.
That would be the last thing you'd want to happen.
That would be terrible.
One thing about Texas Hold'em, a lot of people who have played poker before,
especially the whole
as you
nation
said, kitchen table poker, but they've never played Hold'em. The hand values are a lot different there. I mean, there are some wild card games of poker where 3 of a kind in a full house, not really a good hand. You know?
Right. You know, that's a good point. Maybe Billy Murray's game is baseball, midnight baseball, or follow the queen, or Joker's Wild.
Sure, you need a straight flush to win a hand of baseball.
Cool. That's a good point. Matt Dawson calling with the ace-3 of clubs.
Raise.
Raise to 6.
Raise to 6,000 total.
Pace is aggressive. Norman Pace knows the value of a hand in 6-player Texas Hold'em.
Well, it looks like he very much values an ace, because he's putting a lot of heat on these pots with any ace in his hand.
But don't you think, Kenna, I mean, Pace might run the risk of doing his stack a lot of damage here?
Well, he's correct in his assessment here, as he, you know, takes the flop with the best hand.
8,000.
And he maintains it. Ace-6, still the best hand, and he leads at the flop for 8,000.
Dawson needs a 4 to make a straight, but Pace is not making it cheap for him, is he?
No, I like this. You've raised before the flop. A king comes out. You lead at the pot.
There is 32,000 in the kitty. Little does Norman Pace know he has the best hand, or does he? He probably does now.
I think he does now. And Matt Dawson in trouble here. He is going to need a 4, which will make a straight to the 5, or a 3.
And interestingly enough, even though both players have aces, Kenna, the 6 plays, doesn't it? It's a 5-card poker hand.
Right. The best 5-card poker hand wins. And in this case, the 5 cards that are going to play are 2 aces, a king, an 8, and a 6.
Call me what you like, mate.
Call you Norman.
Matt Dawson paying off Norman Pace. A pip is as good as a prayer here. Inch as good as a mile. Norman Pace winning that pot with his 5th card, the 6.
Sitting down, I think it's the thing that most gets your adrenaline running. I mean, I've been a sportsman all my life. I used to be a PE teacher before I got into show biz, and I've always played some kind of sport, and the thrill that gives you. Well, poker, you know, to find poker, I'm in my 50s now, to find it so late in my life, and to sit there at a table or even at a computer and feel adrenaline surging through your veins, it's got to be a thrill, isn't it?
Still lots of action to come round the poker table in this celebrity qualifier. These guys are used to putting on an act in front of the cameras and winning on the biggest stages. But when you're bluffing for a part of a $500,000 prize pool, that's when the real pressure's on. Join us for more after the break. Welcome back to this celebrity qualifying heat of the partypoker.net World Open. The winner of this table gets a ticket into the main tournament with a seat in next week's first heat and a chance to go all the way and win $200,000. It's bigger than the Oscars, it's scarier than a World Cup. Let's play poker.
So Billy Murray is the chip leader, but some of these conniving celebrities at this table might be eyeing his chips with greed right now. Can I say that? Just get my hands on those.
Yeah, methods
Zoe
of,
Anderson.
yeah.
She's just learned to play recently, and her starting card selection so far has been pretty strong. Here she comes with an ace-3.
Pass.
Here we are. I like this call by Zoe. Ace-3 suited. There's 3 types of hands that are very powerful in No Limit Hold'em.
No raise.
Hands that you can make sets, straights, and flushes. And here, if spades come, Anderson would make the nut flush. Pace got has clubs, so they're looking for clubs and spades. Murray looking for hearts to make a heart flush. Backley with the lonely Jack Deuce.
He's looking for a miracle.
Oh, look, and it comes Jack Deuce King.
Two players have two pair.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And this is why you cannot play these inferior hands.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's
I was
got
thinking
something,
actually. I
Kenna.
was actually thinking Murray had King Jack, but he actually has Jack Deuce. So both players have flopped jacks and deuces.
Yeah, but Norman Pace has top pair of kings, and Zoe Anderson has a nut flush draw. How does all the money not go in here?
Yeah, we're going to see some action in this pot right here. Now, hopefully, Zoe Anderson realizes she has the nut flush draw.
Well, these percentages that you saw on the hand playing a little weird because Murray and Backley, if they win the hand, they must split the pot. They have the same hand. But either Norman Pace or Zoe Anderson has a chance to outdraw them, as we say.
Very easily. Very easily, Zoe Anderson, you know, is a little less than 2-to-1 underdog to make the flush and take down a huge pot. Let's see what the turn card is going to bring. Will it bring a spade for Zoe Anderson?
Well, Billy Murray has folded his two pairs of jacks up, leaving just Backley in the pot with the jacks and deuces. And
it is a spade.
Wow.
Zoe Anderson just makes the nut flush. Let's see what she does here.
I'll tell you, Billy Murray's going to congratulate himself when this is all over.
Well, we know Billy Murray needs royal flush to continue in any hand. So.
And Backley's having a real think about this.
Well, obviously Backley knows what he's doing. He sees the flush card,
Check.
and he wisely checks.
Check.
Well, Zoe Anderson, they call it the nuts.
Right, she has the nuts right now. Does she realize it?
4,000.
And Norman Pace in trouble here. He's betting with not only the worst hand of the three, Kenna, but a hand that's drawing dead. But we've seen so far in this game that sometimes the aggressor can knock out some serious stuff. Backley folding two pair.
Folding two pair. Zoe Anderson, she doesn't realize she has the best possible hand. I don't think. Or does she?
Oh, she's going red here. Just reach for the red.
A tentative call with the best possible hand.
You know,
an ace high flush.
I do believe Pace may be getting a little worried here.
Nervous smile.
That smile.
Oh, and it pairs the board, giving Pace 3 kings. If Zoe moved all in here, Pace would call. She'd have his whole stack.
Norman Pace faced with a difficult decision here, Kenna.
Well, I think he's going to bet. You know, he's seen no sign from Zoe Anderson that she has the flush.
I mean, you say the poker gods must be crazy. Some of the hands we've seen tonight. Oh, what
he
a
does
check.
check his 3 king.
Discipline, the better part of valor there. And Norman Pace can pat himself on his back.
Look at Zoe Anderson, who's won this pot, looks very nervous even as the chips are pushed her way.
I mean, they say sometimes a player gets more nervous with a good hand than a bad hand. Do you find that true?
Yes, for sure. The excitement that's going on inside you when you make that hand, and realize you've won. It's kind of like winning the lottery in a small way.
It may be the first big pot Zoe Anderson has won in her poker career. Spades on the flop, the 5th spade on the turn. That's a flush. And the 3 kings by Norman Pace could not catch up.
Anti-crease and all that.
Yeah. They'll do mine
Leaderboard
as well.
scrolling around.
Yeah, it does
And
everything.
Billy Murray in first position.
Not that I can
seconded
tell
by
you.
Zoe Anderson. How about that for topsy-turvy?
Well, Billy Murray's obviously not going to give any chips away, and Zoe Anderson, that might have been the first flush she's ever made. She has only been playing poker for a short time, and we have seen some really interesting poker play here.
Pass.
I know it's boring, but I'm going to have to raise.
Raise.
Norman Pace with a pair
8,000
of pocket
total.
tens. I mean, for players like Norman Pace and Michael Greco and Steve Backley as well, it's going to be a very tough exercise for them to dance and dive around this table.
Well, yes, because they're not going to be sure of what they're up against. because the players themselves aren't exactly sure. So anything can happen, and probably will here tonight.
Just a call.
Call.
Yeah, I mean, one of the great things about this, Kenna, is we're probably seeing Billy Murray, Zoe Anderson, their first time ever playing. You know, I mean, 12 months from now,
right?
If you have another look at Zoe and Billy,
right?
You know,
they're going to look back at this. They're going to look back at this and say, "Oh, no."
They could just be ramming and jamming with the best of them. I mean, that's one of the great things about poker is, you know, you can go from
raise.
And raise announced by Zoe.
8,000.
You can learn very quickly, and she's learned to be aggressive as she puts in a raise with the king 7.
Well, she's going to scare the bejesus out of Norman Pace if an overcard comes to his 10.
Because exactly, because you know she checked with the nuts, so now she's raising. He's got to figure his 10s are no good, even though they are at this point, as we can see, because we can see their overcards.
8 more to call.
8,000 on Backley, who all of a sudden finds himself in a 40,000 chip pot, 48,000 to be exact. And
now, if Zoe Anderson makes a continuation bet after this flop, that's what it's called. You've taken the lead before the flop, and you continue after the flop. She has a very good chance of winning this hand. Will she make the continuation bet?
God, I hope so.
Check.
Check. Check.
She does not.
Well, that's good for Norman Pace. He's going to find out where he's at.
20,000.
Nice bet by Norman Pace.
Pass.
Good stuff. That might take care of Zoe.
Well, Zoe's problem is that she won the hand by the last hand she knows by pulling off a card on the turn, so she might be tempted to call.
You can pass if you want.
Yeah.
Or you can raise that up. It's entirely up to you. What's the raise? The minimum raise would be 40,000 total.
Zoe's asked for her options.
Yep.
Which is a good thing to do if you're not sure. You always ask the dealer will always tell you, Kenna. And Norman Pace's heart dropped into the seat of his pants when she asked how much she could raise. He got grimmer than the Reaper, but now happy to take that pot.
Well, you know, faced with uncertainty, it's a scary thing.
He called a raise there. It would have been a very, very tough.
It would have been better if it finished there.
Yeah. Tease me.
So Zoe decided not to take the plunge.
Zoe Anderson, a little unsure of what to do, followed her instincts, which were correct, which were to fold. The stars are out tonight, Jesse.
I tell you, they're all here.
Are you sweating?
Absolutely sweating. I don't know what's going on.
Rugby player,
No,
javelin thrower,
I get involved. 6,000.
comedian, writer, actors.
Michael Greco waking up with pocket queens, rather. The ladies.
See, look at the spot again.
I feel like we're going to peel off the present moment.
Okay, now stay in the hand. It's going to cost you 5,000 more. Okay.
Or you can raise. It's up to you.
Total of
pass your
6,000
cards,
from
Or
Greco.
you can raise.
Or you could,
Call.
I mean, in the World Series of Poker, Kenna, the main... Ooh, Matt Dawson with the 210.
Right.
Raise.
So we got 10s against queens here. We're going to see some action. I think something is going to develop here. We've got a lot of big hands out there.
I think he's announced re-raise. He stuck red chips in.
16,000 more.
Total of 16,000 more. Will Greco push?
Yeah.
Re-raised, all in.
Greco's had enough of this, you know,
I've seen enough.
small pot betting. He's going to try and take down the
Can't
pot
call it
right
if you
here.
want.
All in, a message that
Come on.
everybody
I've got some
understands.
pastry to make.
And even Dawson.
Are you calling?
No, I'll call.
Oh,
Call.
Cool. Yeah.
Call.
Dawson thinking about folding there, and Greco just talked him into it.
Oh, that's filthy. I knew there was something that was going to come against that.
mate, it's not over yet.
It's not over, you're right. But
I
He's
don't
got
know if
2
that's proper
to help
etiquette to call the queens
Anyone
filthy.
fold a 10?
Well, Dawson's tough as nails in his sporting
Watch it
career.
on telly.
He's
Positive.
going to have to
Positivity is the key to
find a couple
poker.
hard 10s in the deck. They're not there yet.
5, 6, 7. Dawson needing a
9
10 to
Yeah, I wouldn't
continue
want to see
on.
I don't want to see an 8 and a 9.
We'll knock him out.
Yeah, this is the first hand Greco's played. He's got all his chips in the middle.
God, it was a nice
That
king.
ace could have been happy for some of the players who folded, but just river card coming.
It's a
Well, thanks,
5.
man.
Guys,
Cheers, mate.
stuff.
Thank you.
I love it.
Matt Dawson, our first celebrity out of this heat. He found good cards to play.
Keep cooking.
Anyone have an
Got his
ace?
chips in and
No one had an ace.
now push his chair back to the table.
Couldn't risk going up again.
Matt Dawson's seen off some of the biggest names in the world of rugby, collecting Grand Slams and a World Cup winners' medal along the way. But tonight, Pocket Tens proved his undoing. He's the first player back in the dressing room. He's with Kenna and Jesse now.
Well, Matt Dawson just knocked out 2 tens. Commiserations, Matt. It seemed like you had an instinct that maybe you wanted to fold those hands when Greco pushed in like that.
No, I thought the hand was going to be all right. Pocket tens, sort of averages a go. If someone goes all in, you never know. Looking back on it, I suppose Michael hadn't been in I don't think he'd been in one hand for the whole.
He's so tight, isn't he?
Exactly. So I think I should have probably maybe taken stock a little bit, but it was just there were not a lot of cards coming around. I was just felt like playing a bit of poker and probably got a little bit impatient, but that was okay. Good fun.
Well, I think if you push with tens every time you find them, you're going to come out ahead in the long run. I mean, it is a strong hand, isn't it, Kenna? Still 5 left though, and Greco looking very strong.
Michael Greco, chip leader at the moment, and it's not surprising that the actor is playing the table a treat. Nowadays, he's a regular on the poker scene and one of the celebrities that have made the crossover successfully from screen to poker table. Let's get back to the action.
Well, Kenna, 1 knockout, and that gives Michael Greco, the most experienced player, a lot of chips. Can he take advantage?
Well, absolutely. He has the experience, which, tonight is key. So, he's won a nice pot. He's waiting for the hands. He found a great hand with pocket queens. A little bit unfortunate for Matt Dawson, who selected a good hand to go all in with the 2 tens, but, didn't work out for him.
Still plenty of play here. I've got a good feeling about Steve Backley, the javelin thrower. I think javelin throwers are well suited to poker. Fire eaters and javelin throwers.
Fire eaters and javelin throwers.
You're enjoying it?
It's interesting to see some of the poker plays made by these athletes, but Jesse, I'd like to be filmed of you going out and throwing a javelin and seeing how well you do.
Well said. And I also remember the first time I played Hold'em, and there was a guy in a cowboy hat just like you who quickly relieved me of my dosh. And
I bet they can play poker a lot better than we could throw a javelin, or maybe run the 100-yard dash for that matter.
Or you can pass your cards, or you can raise.
Can you imagine me doing the hurdles? I wouldn't make it over the first hurdle.
Total.
Well, the one thing about poker is how sometimes you see, even though a person's inexperienced, they have good instincts. And Anderson here, Zoe, with very good aggressive instincts, raising before the flop.
Right.
And she's put Michael Greco on the back foot, hasn't she?
She has, but Michael Greco's got a tough decision here, whether to re-raise or flat call. And he's rightly flat called because when you're up against unpredictable opponents and you're not sure what they're going to do, your best defense is to just call with the best hand and try and let them bluff off their chips.
Yeah, and I guess keeping the pot small until you have a huge hand, which is what Greco's doing. He's bet, but it's a very small bet. He has the best hand. He's bet 4,000.
I expect him to check here on the river and just see what happens.
Check.
Good play.
Well, wouldn't it be great if Zoe Anderson could find a bet?
It'd have to be a pretty big bet for Greco to fold here, I think.
Any amount that you want. 2,000.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just wasn't big enough.
No, right. The bet was just too small.
What have we got?
Jack high for Zoe and 2 sevens for Michael Greco. There probably was an amount that would have won her the pot. Kenna, what was it?
But it was much more like 40 or 50,000, not 2. But whatever she lacks in poker prowess, she makes up with beauty. That's for sure.
Instincts and
I thought it was only one.
Bound.
Only one. No, it's 2 now. It was one before because when Matt went out, he would have been the small blind. So rather
You know,
than
in
penalise
the World
youngsters
Series
that
of Poker,
just
Kenna,
give
where
up
I know you've gotten very deep there, even last year, I think there was 6,000 players in it, and you must come across a whole wide range of poker styles. What do you find the best strategy is for people who, you know, it's walking on eggshells. I mean, Michael Greco finds himself in a situation right now
where he's in a minefield where the mines are nowhere, you know, where you'd think they'd be. I mean, he could be walking through an open field and boom. So he's got to tread very carefully. Michael Greco does, and I think he senses that.
Is it about waiting for the nuts, you wonder? Greco here with top pair.
6,000.
Certainly not the nuts, but a very strong hand. He leads at the pot and should take this one down right here.
Got any of that, Bill?
Billy Murray, I don't anticipate him calling. But he does with second pair. He's opened his game up a little bit.
This is a huge stride. Although, in this instance, Billy Murray's in terrible shape.
It sure is. And you notice how careful Michael Greco is proceeding now. Checking top pair on the turn.
5,000. Pass.
Nice fold. Nice lay down there by Murray. Greco, he's playing a real feeler game, isn't he? He's just throwing out bets all over the place. But
I like the way he's playing as the blinds go up now to 2,000 and 4,000.
While the blinds are just about to go up, let's remind ourselves how the blinds work in Texas Hold'em.
Every poker hand begins with the placing of the button and the posting of the blinds. The button is a disc that represents the nominal dealer. The blinds are force bets to get the action started. The player to the left of the button puts in the small blind. The player on his left puts in the big blind, usually double the small. Action for this first round of betting will be to the left of the big blind. The button moves to the left with each hand, and the blinds are raised throughout the game to keep the action going. Michael Greco, he's played 56% of the hands. There's 186,000 in chips. And Billy Murray, Norman Pace, both with more than they started with. Not Backley. There's Billy Murray.
And that's what this is a game to really enjoy and have fun at, and try and get your chops, so to speak.
I tell you, I remember watching some of the snooker champions. Steve played the smart players when they first played poker. They didn't have a clue, and now they're all playing in the main event of the World Series. They're winning tournaments. You know, it's when you've been a champion in one discipline, Kenna, it seems how poker lends itself naturally as a game to learn, doesn't it?
That's right. Backley bringing it in with ace-6.
Call.
Just a flat call. Norman Pace with some imagination, calling from the small blind with 8-3, and Billy Murray now with the 8-9 of spades. I like that hand.
We are three-way for 4,000 apiece. 3 diamonds on board.
Check.
King Jack 7.
Check.
Diamonds are a javelin player's best friend right now. Backley has the nut draw.
The nut flush draw, ace high flush draw.
Pass.
Billy Murray only with a gut shot straight draw and no diamond will correctly fold here. Backley will take down the pot.
Nice little bet by Steve Backley. His hand wasn't made. He needed another diamond, but he flung it in there.
Just keep them for the next hand.
Well, that's a hand, though. Ace high. You're playing 5-handed. If you're going to play it, I would bring it in for a little bit of a raise, not to give your opponents a free opportunity to flop a pair and take the pot away from you. Luckily for him there, though, that nobody else flopped a pair, and he could easily pick up that pot with a bet.
Zoe Anderson. You
Looking
were
for a
mentioning
pair.
about paper airplanes before I get to you about that. He was the best paper airplane thrower in his class, which lent itself naturally to the javelin.
Yeah, at 9 years old, you know, he threw a paper plane, one of those paper planes in class that flew all the way across the room.
No race.
And his teacher said, "You should take up the javelin." And I'm kidding. I don't know that to be a fact, but. Now look at Zoe Anderson flopping top pair of jacks. She has queen jack.
Check.
Well, she's announced bet.
Yeah, she knows now. She knows that she has a good hand.
And
she's going to win a pot, and this should make her happy, build her confidence.
Aggression never misplaced at the poker table. And Zoe Anderson, as you said, she's been playing a half hour, Kenna. And
yeah, she's going to take up the game very quickly. She had a little bit of a smile there.
Definitely.
Baby got a new pair of shoes.
Small blind there, 2,000.
She can throw a wrench in the works here.
There's 2 blues.
She's certainly very easy sometimes for ladies to get the men on the back foot.
Well, they certainly can easily distract us.
Pass.
From the objective at hand. Now Norman Pace with the Queen Jack.
12,000 total.
You can tell the experience level of your players just based upon how they put their chips in the pot. You can tell Norman Pace has played a bit of poker. You know, he puts his chips in with confidence.
Yeah, I've played with Norman Pace before, and he can play the game.
Now Zoe Anderson with the best hand, ace-9 before the flop so far. Let's see how she puts her chips in the pot, if in fact she does elect to play. See, that tentativeness, that uncertainty, you know, just comes with a little inexperience, and she'll gain that as she plays more poker.
Head up here between Pace and Murray. Murray has shown himself to be bettable as far as you can bet him off a hand, and Pace has a good flop here.
Well, he's flopped an open-end straight. Murray still maintaining the best hand with ace-high, neither player having a pair.
If it had come the ace, it would have been a bloodbath, but Pace now with the best hand, pair of queens, and he's reaching pretty deep here.
15,000.
15,000. That's a good size bet. He's turned the best hand, pair of queens.
Called.
And an inadvised call by Murray.
Check.
What Murray needs is another heart to make a flush. Unfortunately, there's no more cards left, are there?
That's right, and Murray is left hung out to dry. I think this will be called by Pace. And
how much are we going to put in?
4,000 minimum, and then anything over.
This would be an ill-advised bluff by Billy Murray.
Unless he stuck all his chips in, but
Queen takes it. Yeah.
I mean, there's Norman Pace taking that pot. There's one thing about bluffs, Kenna. If you're gonna make a bluff in poker, you gotta make a big one sometimes, don't you?
Right. Well, you have to commit to it. It's just like, you know, in life. You know, when you elect to do something, commit. You know, make a commitment to it. And same thing with bluffing. You have to be able to, you know, keep a stone face and commit to what you're trying to do.
Yeah, it is like if you're gonna tell a lie, make it a biggie.
You got to make it believable, right?
So let me put it on the glass first so that Jessie can say it's rubbish.
Pass.
Fold it around to the button. And Backley.
Pass.
Not interested.
2 more to call if you want to play.
A one-eyed king for Zoe Anderson.
Call.
King 10.
Any raise?
Michael Greco with the 2-8s.
I was not sure what to do here.
There's no point in raising.
Okay.
I'll just see a flop.
No raise.
Just remember that.
Michael Greco aptly assessing that there's no point in raising because the opponents are going to come in anyway, meaning that he would want to raise to drive opponents out of the hand, but they aren't going to fold anyway, so he'll take a free flop and try and flop a set.
Bet or check?
I think he's going to love that flop, especially if Zoe starts
Check.
plunging some chips into the pot.
6,000.
Now, a lot of poker is your intention. Greco, with this bet, is intending to win the pot right here. He's defining his hand as aces and 8s, and he's making a bet to try and win the pot.
He's also doing his best to try and talk Zoe out of it.
Right, because he realizes any card that comes, you know, above an 8 is going to be danger for him. A king or a 10 would make Anderson a better 2 pair, So he's willing to win that $14,000 pot right here, and he's hoping that she folds, not taking the risk of a king or a 10 coming off on the turn.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Greco decides to give up acting, he could be a great car salesman as well. And look at that call by Zoe.
Everyone's willing
His face went
Well, you see his percentage chance as the hand develops, is very close.
Right. Any jack, any king, any 10, any queen.
Check.
Any
sorry.
9.
That's a check out.
Zoe's got a ton of outs, doesn't she?
She certainly does. And a 9, another overcard to Michael Greco.
So it's up to yourself. How
Basically, any card over an 8 except for an ace will win Zoe Anderson the pot.
A 9 would win the pot for her because 9s and aces with the king. But it's a 6, and Michael Greco maintains the best hand to the river. And we'll see how this plays out. Unless Anderson makes a big size bet as a bluff here, I think Michael Greco will win this pot.
It's always a minimum of 4,000, and then it's anything over 4,000 that you want to bet.
Yeah, make a big bet, Zoe. A really big bet. Go red, go red!
4,000.
She doesn't. She goes blue. Only 4,000.
Last time you didn't have anything, so maybe.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, turn them over.
Yeah, well, there's 32,000 in there to win. I mean, Greco getting something they call pot odds, I guess.
Absolutely.
Meaning,
I think if Zoe Anderson would have bet about 15,000 here, she would have won this pot.
Thank you.
But when you're uncertain of exactly what to do or how to bet, your opponents read that as weakness, and it makes it easy for them to call. You want to make it difficult for your opponents to make their decisions, not easy.
Of course. I mean,
well, Michael Greco has had the hands. He's seen them through. He's pushed. He's raised. He's the chip leader.
The deal, guys, okay?
Going pretty sweet.
it's not easy to play someone who hasn't played much, especially when they haven't really got a total clue on the game. It's, I mean, I'm not saying I'm the most experienced guy in the world, but I've quite a good grasp of the game and its knowledge. But it's really, you got to really adapt your game to playing. If you're on a table of 6 professionals, you play your game in the way you should. If you're on a table of 6 novices, then you've got to change your game. Otherwise, I don't think you can bluff someone out of the pot as much.
2,000, 4,000.
And now with that chip lead, Michael Greco will be even more liberal with his calls, especially since his opponents aren't showing him much of a hand. He should probably turn on the speed here. Billy Murray with 2 kings.
Cool.
Well, it's not 2 aces, so.
Well,
Pass.
if somebody picks up 2 queens here, Billy Murray might make a
Pass.
huge.
Michael Greco, 8-9 offsuit,
Call.
straight
No
possibilities.
raise.
Lauren Pace taking the free flop. And they'll have their eyes on Billy Murray. Little do Greco and Pace know that Murray has a handful here.
Yeah, 2 kings as we go to the flop, a big favorite. Wow, now this could spell trouble for Michael Greco. He flops top pair. And the problem here that he faces is that Billy Murray did not raise coming into this pot
Pass.
to define his hand. And Michael Greco, who plays with professionals, is programmed to believe that if you have a big pair, you raise before the flop.
Okay, so it's been raised another 6,000, it's 12,000 total.
This is nice stuff from Murray.
A nice check raise with the best hand.
Look at Greco's face.
Well, he's confused because he feels like if Murray had a big pair, why didn't he raise coming into the pot? So his deception is going to can make him a lot of money if he can avoid
Check.
Greco making 2 pair or a straight now, as that 10 gives him an open-end straight, which means 7, 8, 9, 10. He's got 4 to a straight. A 6 or a jack will make him a straight. An 8, 3 of a kind, and a 9, 2 pair, which is why he still has a 30% chance to win this hand.
I like this from Billy Murray. He has not made it easy. The bet is 12,000, and Greco hardly going to give it up.
Cool.
But
No, he has too many outs to give it up at this point. but I think he senses now that he is behind and he is going to need some help on the river. A 6, a jack, an 8 for 3 8s will do it for Michael Greco.
This is a bit unfortunate for Billy Murray. He's
It really
finally
is.
gotten very aggressive in a hand. He's played his big pair. He's moved all in.
An ill-advised bet by Billy Murray. Michael Greco making 3 8s on the river.
Turn them over for me there, please.
You know,
Hold up, mate. I was in on the turn because I had a straight draw.
Billy Murray just got his first bad beat of his poker career.
No, I enjoyed it.
And that was a bad beat.
He's saying he's enjoyed it. It's not much enjoyable to lose on the river like that. But you know, if he had moved all in on the turn, I think he would have won that pot.
No.
Wow. Pocket kings housed there, hosed off and hosed down. Billy Murray had the cowboys. Greco flopped a pair, turned a straight draw, rivered 3 of a kind, and that was enough to bring us down to 4 people.
Billy Murray's used to ruling the roost on screen. He's played some of the hardest guys on TV, but he wasn't quite tough enough to stay in here, and Michael Greco wins the Battle of the EastEnders. Let's hear from Billy with Kenna and Jesse.
Well, Billy Murray joining us in here because his kings were cracked. Your first bad beat, Billy.
Yeah. I hope it's the last.
The Cowboys took you down, but it's a great starting hand. Take us through that hand. What were you thinking?
Well, I got a pair of kings to kick off with, and I thought it was in the driving seat for that at least. And then I thought, well, perhaps I'll get something else in the flops. I didn't count on the river. Forgot about the river. I was winning right up until then.
Your wife, I understand, was a croupier.
That's right.
Did she teach you how to shuffle those chips, or did you learn that on your own?
I used to watch her when she was working, and I mean, she's magic with the chips.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't play cards with her because she beats me every time.
So you've had a short poker career to this point, but do you fancy yourself continuing and playing more poker?
Yeah, it's addictive, isn't it? It's fantastic.
For Billy Murray, it's been a roller coaster ride. Top of the leaderboard at one moment, dumped out of the tournament the next. Fellow actor Michael Greco is the man on the march. More to come after the break.
So just 4 players left now, and Michael Greco encroaching on half the chips in play. It's a very tough lead to surmount, Kenna.
Absolutely. Norman trying to keep pace with 140,000. He's going to need a double up to get even. Steve Backley, 95,000, and Zoe Anderson hanging in there. She has 73,000.
Greco has won 5 of the hands played so far, which
hand pops up.
is pretty strong. It's about a third of the ones that have been dealt. And now 4-handed blinds still 2 and 4,000. And Zoe
Pass. Call.
holds the 3-4 diamonds.
Call. Any raise?
Michael Greco, feeling invincible, comes in with the 10-7 of clubs.
He must be feeling good. 3-way here.
Steve Backley knuckles it in the big blind with the king-5 of spades as we go to the flop.
A little something for everyone here, although Norman Pace way outside.
Check.
Jack 6-5. Backley with the best hand so far. Pair of 5s. Greco with the flush draw will bet it.
8,000.
Any club for Greco, and I imagine he might win this pot right here.
He might. Backley may decide to look him up with a pair of 5s. He's thinking about it. He's thinking, what can I beat? I lose to a 6 or a jack. Is it worth it to try and call this bet and pull off a 5 or a king?
And pass.
Good decision, really.
Yeah, I think so. You know, you don't know where you're at in the hand. You're out of position. And think about this. If he does call the bet and he doesn't improve, what's he going to do on the turn? He's probably going to check, and Michael Greco will fire again, and that'll leave him in a tough spot.
Blinds there, please.
Huge stacks of chips of the chip leader, Michael Greco.
He's building a fortress.
Celebrity Love Islands. EastEnder.
You know, to see how you're doing in a hand, you want to see how many players are left, take the total amount of chips in play, and divide by that number, and you'll have the average chips to see how you're doing. So we know that the players started with 100,000, and there was 6 players, so that's 600,000 in play.
No, take them back. That's a check.
You're just making the average stack 150.
Okay.
Right, you divide by 4, that's 150,000. So if you have less than 150, you know you're falling behind. If you have more than 150, you're doing well.
12,000 in there again. 6, 7, 8 on board.
Now look at this flop. Steve
Any diamonds?
Backley with top pair and open end straight draw. Now when we say open end, that means either end makes him a straight. A 6 or a 10 will make him a straight.
Yeah, it's kind of like a swinging door.
You're right, exactly. Good description, Jesse. He doesn't need the straight. He's got the best hand right now, and he's going to protect it. He's going to protect his pair of 8s by moving all in, making it very difficult for his opponents to call, and they rightly fold. He's going to take down the $99,000 pot right here.
Well, that's why they call it no limit hold'em. You can bet all your chips at once, and believe me, it's fun.
You know, it sure makes it exciting, Jesse, because when you have all your chips at stake, okay, and they're sitting out there in the middle, it's very nervous time.
Well, it would be a shame to play this game and not get to utter those immortal words of all in.
Well, in a tournament, at some point, you have to announce them, or you've won the tournament, because there's no quitting. You either win it or you go broke.
There's this character that used to play in Irish poker. They called him Suitcase Johnny. And the reason they called him Suitcase Johnny was because instead of saying all in, he'd say suitcase, as in someone's going on a trip, me or you. It's true.
Backley with the ace 3 of clubs, flops now aces, the deck going his way.
Bet or check.
Nobody else with much of a hand.
Check.
I expect Backley to bet here and win the pot right here.
All in.
Suitcase for Backley.
But he's not wasting any time betting small ball. He's going for the home runs and betting all his chips. Can't imagine what Zoe Anderson is thinking here.
I pass.
And pass.
I mean,
nice bet.
One of the things about
that
Backley's
your
strategy, Kenna, I mean, I've seen pros do this. You pick up a lot of small pots, but then sometimes people start to think you're doing it so much they call you with holding they shouldn't be, or
right, with a mediocre hand, because they, you know, you've got them thinking that you're out there bluffing, and they. What they do is they look you up. We call it a lookup. You know, and nobody likes to be robbed. So if they think you're robbing, sometimes they'll look you up.
Pass.
After 2 straight hands, Backley takes a break and folds the 7-6.
It's always been looked up several times today.
Pass.
I'm going to see on your blind, see?
Thank you, mate. You can afford it.
Yep.
Beautiful shirt, Michael Greco. Judy Garland would be proud.
Norman Pace from the celebrated dynamic duo.
Pass. Pass.
On the blind.
Michael Greco effectively playing the part of poker player.
No.
I'd like to think, I mean, Norman Pace has done basically nothing wrong so far.
How about I could have said 18?
He said raise, and I heard make it ace, and then he said no change.
He wants to raise more than what he said. And so they're going to hold him to his verbal declaration, I think, which is 8,000.
Make it 8, and he said no, I'll change
I imagine
that.
what's happened here.
Norman
probably thought it was still first level blinds, and 8,000 to a 2,000 would have been a big raise. But the problem is verbal contracts are binding in poker, aren't they?
They are.
Being re-raised.
You know, and Backley now decides to make a move and re-raise him. A very ill-advised move. Backley has taken a shot of adrenaline here, and he has really become aggressive these last few hands.
Raised another 10, so it's now 18,000
Great
total.
news for Pace if he decides to push. You know, I can't help but looking at this hand. One of the most famous hands in World Series history. Robert Varconi won the World Series by re-raising all in with the Queen 10 of clubs against Phil Hellmuth's Ace King.
That's right.
About 3 tables left, and
maybe he saw that episode.
Interesting enough, Phil Hellmuth is still talking about it. What a flop!
Well, both players catching a piece of this flop. Backley with second pair of tens. Pace with the top pair. Top kicker. Ace King.
All in a call.
All in and call.
Now this is Pace setting a beautiful trap here. This is called setting a trap. You check to feign weakness. You let your opponent bet, and you call with the best hand.
Yeah, as Norman Pace has so rightly pointed out, Backley not dead yet.
He needs a queen or a 10 on the turn or the river to survive.
78% here for Norman Pace.
It's a 9. Now a queen or a 10 only on the river will save Backley. Otherwise, Pace will eliminate him, and we will be down to 3 players. As we go to the river.
Time for
a trade. Hello, sir.
Well done. Top job. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, good.
And Backley's got the suitcase.
Yeah, he said suitcase and what's going on a trip. That's a huge pot for Norman Pace, and he's basically pulled nearly even with Michael Greco. This is going to make it very interesting between these two, with, of course, Zoe Anderson still the vixen in the works.
Steve Backley hasn't lost that competitive drive from his sporting days, but Norman Pace has pushed him out the door and he goes home medalless.
I thought that was absolutely brilliant. It's very, very intense. I don't know how it's sort of come across. It's difficult to tell, but it was seriously right from the get-go. It was seriously intense, and yeah, I guess I was fairly aggressive and came a cropper. But that's the nature of the game, I guess. And yeah, I don't no real regrets, and I don't think I did anything howlingly wrong. But we'll wait and see.
Well, Steve Backley sat still for a little while and then went into overdrive.
He certainly did. You know, aggression is a big part of this game, but blind aggression can get you in trouble.
Now, looks like Greco and Pace. There's still 3, but...
Well, it's no surprise. They are the ones that have the most experience, and they say the cream rises to the top, and experience is the cream here. But, you know, Zoe Anderson, she can be very tempting and alluring, and maybe she can distract her opponents. Let's see.
Triangular situation out there. 3 players left.
Javelin thrower Steve Backley's chucked it all away and we're down to just 3. It's going to be tough for Zoe Anderson from here. Both Greco and Pace are established poker names, and batting her eyelashes might not be enough to shake these guys off her chips.
Well, 3 left. Looks a little bit like Harry and the Huguenots here. And Michael Greco, Norman Pace.
Zoe smiling, how beautiful she looks tonight. She's going to have to look to find the answer.
Well, I mean, Zoe is out-chipped. She's outgunned. She doesn't have experience. But if you were sitting in there with her stack right now, what would you do with her chips, Kenna? What's the best advice?
Gamble it up. Try and let luck determine your outcome. Luck does play a big factor in it. Like right here, I'd put in a big raise, maybe move all in. Put my opponent at a decision for all his chips.
Nobody's.
Right. So you're saying that Greco and Pace are just going to try and grind her down.
Right. And you want to, you know, a good strategy in poker is try to figure out what your opponents are trying to do and do the opposite. Make it difficult for them.
I like it. I hear Norman Pace has outflopped Zoe with the second pair.
Yeah, and this is the problem with Anderson not raising before the flop. She's let Pace see the flop for free, and he makes a pair. And where she started with the best hand before the flop, now is a big underdog.
6 to play now.
She should fold this hand, and we should move on to the next hand.
Call.
because only an ace can help her now.
Yeah, or possibly some mystery runner situation, of which this is the beginning.
Bet or check.
She's got a royal flush draw right now.
She sure does. Or any club will make her a, you know, a nut flush in clubs. So now she has, you know, a fairly reasonable chance, about a 3-to-1 dog, to make that flush. But
Check.
now an ace also
Check. Both check.
will win the hand for her. An ace or a club will win the hand for Zoe Anderson.
Oh, God, I wanted to see it. A queen of clubs, that would have been a beautiful card. I mean, she's only been playing poker. This is their first time ever.
Right.
You know, some people have waited 10 years to hit a royal flush.
Right, that
But,
would have been something.
As it is, Pace with the 2 10s. And ooh, it'll be interesting to see if he can find a call here. If Zoe tickles
Check.
the ivories.
Check. Turn them over for me. Pair of tens.
Ace high for Zoe Anderson. She did not get the club or the ace.
Norman basically played that perfectly,
So
didn't he, Kenna?
he did. Norman Pace will take down this pot and shorten the lead between him and Michael Greco.
Ah, she is Casey.
He entered the pot, he made a pair, he bet it. As soon as he met with resistance, he put up the moats, drew the drawbridge in, sent the archers home.
Small line there, please. Just 2 yellow ones.
Zoe Anderson sporting the only color that Michael Greco is missing in that shirt.
It's true, that's a good point. And,
Oh, he does. He does have a touch of yellow up on the
Pass.
collar there. You see that?
2 to call.
Yes, does he have any indigo?
Lovely.
All the colors of the rainbow.
Peach. Peach is missing. Magenta, though. Any shirt with magenta in it, you gotta respect.
I haven't seen many magenta cowboys, that's for sure.
You know, I'd be interested to see some of Michael Greco's work while I'm over here.
He's a superhero soap opera
Kind
star.
of like Mandy.
Of course, he's been out.
Yeah.
Bet or check. Sorry, bet or fold.
Very famous also for being in a reality show
It's 4,000
called
minimum.
Celebrity Love Island.
Celebrity Love Island.
I have
You
to-
gotta love
well,
that.
I was hooked. I have
You
to-
gotta love
I was
that.
completely hooked.
Celebrity Love Island.
Yeah.
I mean, how good a time do they have on that
Not as good a time as I had watching
on that
it.
plot of land?
And he just played in a soccer reality show with Diego Maradona. Well, that's big news. That's huge. That must be a thrill. Maradona, massive hero, or villain, depending on your perspective as an Englishman.
Well, we go to the flop. It's 9-3 deuce with 2 spades. Norman Pace, second pair.
6,000.
Michael Greco with the flush draw.
Call. 6 to
And
play.
Zoe Anderson with 2 overcards. She certainly
Call.
remembers how to bet and call, actually, in this point. Greco betting the flush draw.
Yeah, is Pace out of this pot, or is Norman Pace in with the threes as well? He's got
Yep.
the best hand right now.
Still
doesn't he?
three-way.
Check.
Still three-way.
Check. Or
Greco's
check.
got a million outs here. Any spade, any 7, a 6, an 8.
It is a spade. Michael Greco makes the flush. He's going to bet it. I can't imagine he's going to get paid off here. I think both players will fold.
I mean, one thing we have noticed tonight, Kenna, is that
Pass.
Greco and Pace have avoided each other like the Black Death. I mean,
Yeah, I think they're waiting till it gets heads up. Zoe Anderson thinking about calling. She's moving all in on a move. Who's going to get called. I think Zoe Anderson has lost the plot here.
33,000
it's such a
more.
shame because there's so many hands where that move on the river would have won her the pot.
Right.
This time she's run into a buzzsaw.
Right, she's just run into a big hand.
But
And
she did get to utter the immortal word suitcase, thankfully. And
looks like she's had a good time, though, and I look forward to seeing her back here in the booth.
Number 2.
head up now. Greco v.
You
Pace.
were the big blind bear,
It
weren't
only
you?
took them 21 hands. And but it was pretty much like the massacre of Missouri, wasn't it? I mean, there were Civil War battles that were cleaner than this one.
You're going to be small and you're going to be big. Okay.
I mean,
So I'll give
Talk about Manassas, Shiloh, and the celebrity poker heats from the poker world.
Yeah, oh yes, yes.
So they'll be going up to 3-6, and I think Michael's going to be moved into seat 2.
Seat 2.
Well, Zoe Anderson out leaving us head up. She outlasted 3 other players there, Zoe Anderson,
Yeah.
and she had a little bit of aggression. I mean,
yes, she did. You know, it's not always about just winning. It's about what you take away from the game, and you know, it's a game where you have to learn and progress. And should take a lot away from this game. She outlasted 3 other opponents, and she played well for her first time.
you got to start somewhere. It's just a question of where she goes from here.
Right.
But we're head up now, Kenna, and
right. Norman Pace against Michael Greco, the comedian versus the actor. Norman Pace, a little bit more experience, but Michael Greco taken to this game like a fish in water. You know, he really has a good balance of aggression and good card sense.
And I mean, these guys will both know that this is their opportunity to get in that main draw with the pros. $500,000 prize pool. Could be
$500,000 prize pool. Second place, 0 zilch. A lot of pressure out there tonight, Jesse.
Could be a marathon heads-up match. Could be over quick. Who's it going to be? Let's check out the table.
Have one of those flush things.
Sneezes, lots of things run in threes, and this is the third time that Michael Greco and Norman Pace have gotten head up in a celebrity poker event. Their record, Kenna, is Pace 2-0.
Well, you know, that may change tonight. Michael Greco with the chip lead going into heads up, plus he's gained the experience of playing Norman Pace before. These two with the experience exchanging.
How do you handicap this matchup? Greco, obviously the chip lead. From what you've seen so far, any other differences in their style?
Well, yeah, I think Michael Greco's a little bit more aggressive than Norman Pace, but it's going to be a very interesting battle to watch as we go to the tail of the tape. Hands won 8-6, both 45% in betting frequency, and have both won big pots. So as you can see, it's very close. It's like 2 boxers who, you know, the same height and the same reach.
And really, it's still very early rounds as far as the blinds are concerned. Neither player under any sort of pressure.
Right. You know, this is going to be a good heads-up match. It may, go for a while here. As Norman Pace looks at 2 kings as we start heads-up play.
That's always a nice little ticket, isn't it?
It is, especially if your opponent holds a good hand as well. And we have, so we look over to Michael Greco.
See, I've made that run, haven't I? I've said it now. Blinds have gone up.
Pace, not really sure how much he wants to raise. I think it's a minimum raise of just 6,000 more.
6 to call.
Now notice how he put those chips in. He wanted to make it look like he was weak, and Michael Greco picks up pocket 9s, a very reasonable starting hand. We're going to have action right off the get-go here, Jesse.
All right.
You can forgive Greco for re-raising. Now the question is, will he take the hint if Norman Pace comes back over the top? Because 9s, there's not many hands that beat 9s head up before the flop.
No, they don't. But how is Pace going to play this hand is the real question. Is he going to slow play it and just flat call here and then try and win the rest of Michael Greco's chips on the flop? Or is he going to re-raise and try and win a big pot?
All in.
Pace has gone all in.
Yep, that answers that right there. He's going to put him to a decision right now.
I can tell you, Kenna, that one time
Maybe the shortest heads up in the
they
world.
played heads up. Pace had kings.
Only if you call.
Greco had 7s. I think it was another event. I think Greco has knocked Pace out with kings out of a celebrity event before, catching 3 7s on the flop.
Well, that could be one of the possible ones.
Well, I think Pace has made a little error in judgment here. He must know his opponent and what he's going to do because, you know, Michael Greco, if he assesses this correctly, should fold this hand.
It's a massive overraise, isn't it?
It's a massive overraise, and really, if he's against ace-king or 2 overcards, he's at best 50-50, and most certainly he's facing a bigger pair, which makes him a 4-1 dog.
Well, you gotta like that Greco is taking his time with the decision here. He's trying to get a read on Pace. He's talking to him a little bit.
Well, just
he's called.
All in and a call.
Oh
he
my
thinks they're
goodness.
50-50. It must be the chip lead that swung the decision.
The gambling nature of Michael Greco.
I've seen
did
9s
not
come
allow
out
him
there,
to get
Mike.
away from
In fact,
this
I've seen
hand.
7s come out in the same situation.
Pace.
and Norman Pace
forgotten that
reminding him of that very scenario that you were talking about, Jesse.
These guys have a big history, but it is Pace all in right now. Although he's leading with the kings against the nines, pair over pair. The first hand of head up.
As we go to the flop, Michael Greco looking for a 9.
Close.
5, 8.
And no backdoor flushes, although Greco has a 6-7 out on runner for a straight, in addition to the 9, which would be his best card right now. Pace just saying hold 'em.
It's a 4, neither player having a heart, so a 9 and a 9 only will save Michael Greco. Otherwise, Pace will really take a tremendous chip lead in this match.
Yeah, there's 490,000 in the pot.
It's a queen, and the 2 kings hold up for Norman Pace.
Wow.
Actually, you should know how much it is.
I mean, at the end
on
of the
chip
day,
count.
Kenna, did that overraise by Pace? Did Greco just read that as ace-king? Is that what it comes down to?
You know, basically, this was just, it came down to that pocket 9s is a very strong hand heads up, but when you're playing for all the chips, it doesn't become that big. And, you know, he must have felt that Norman Pace was forcing him
Still thinking that
to a decision, and he didn't want to fold his 2 9s. He thought they were good.
Well, they're gonna
he must have put Norman Pace on a lower pair for him to make that call.
Well, they're counting down these chips right now. Pace just staring off into space, playing the hand over in his mind, feeling very, very good about the fact that he's going to have a 5-1 chip lead. But
In defense of Michael Greco, sometimes players will move in with a small
just
pair.
match up the,
you know, 4s, 5s, 6s,
Yeah,
or
just do it that
7s.
way.
And in those cases,
match up stacks.
Michael Greco would have those hands dominated, and at worst, he felt if his opponent had overcards, he was a coin flip.
Down
so
but not out.
he just evaluated
definitely
this
not.
hand the opposite of how it really came out.
we've seen quite often in this format that if someone takes a 5-1 chip lead, sometimes that overconfidence can allow the other player to creep back into it. I mean,
yeah, well, absolutely. You know, this is a devastating blow to Michael Greco, and we're going to see what kind of character he has, because character, you know, is formed in the face of adversity.
Yeah, and I mean, the reality is he's far from out. He's down.
Nice hand.
He's not weak. He's low. He's
seems to be my nemesis.
That's Michael Greco. Oh, you don't want to hear that
Yeah,
talk, do you?
we ain't over yet.
From the superhero. He's his kryptonite.
He's his Achilles heel.
Norman Pace I've played with quite a few times. We're about 1-1 in stakes at the moment, but he beat me heads up in a tournament not long ago and hit a 3-outer. So I'm out to turn the tables on him today.
Today I'm here to win, you know. I mean, I've learned this. I used to say, oh, I just love playing the game. It's fantastic. Just to be here is enough. No, it's not anymore. You know, I've decided that in order to be a winning poker player, you have to have a winning mentality. So I've come to win today.
Wow. First hand head up, and all the chips went in, Kenna.
Well, both players had a big hand. You know, in poker, when you get head up, you're looking for a pair or 2 big cards like ace-king or ace-queen, and that's usually what it comes down to is a coin flip, because a pair over 2 high cards is a 50-50 proposition. But when you have pair over pair, it's like a 4-1 disadvantage, a very tough spot for Michael Greco.
Will this put Michael Greco on tilt?
Well, you know, I think he's got a long career ahead of him. He's dipped his hand into even playing with the pros and some major tournaments. I think he's got a long, successful career ahead of him. This is just one hand.
You know, Kenna, a lot of poker players talk about not having any choice. You had to do, you had to do. Do poker players always have a choice?
I love that, Jesse. Great question, because you do. You do not have to put those last chips in the pot. I say, well, what could I do? Well, you could fold the hand. You know, look at your opponent. Look at how calm Norman Pace was, sitting back. He wasn't worried about a thing. He obviously had a big hand. The correct play was to fold, but that's the challenge, making the correct play as much as you can.
Well, Greco with only 100,000 now. Does he have any choices? We'll see what he chooses to do with his last 100,000.
looking at the pie. Pace with a big orange cream slice of $4.90.
Greco with the sliver.
And for Michael Greco, this is probably the lowest he's been since hand number
I'll put
one.
You on,
Yeah, it's almost like it's,
hand
you know,
sometimes.
he hasn't lost many hands. So, you know, this certainly is going to be a blow to his confidence.
You said earlier,
want you
Kenna,
flopping
that the
around.
object is to try and do the opposite thing of what your opponent wants. What does Pace want to do, and how should
I can't
Greco
believe this
respond to
blinds
that?
at 3-6.
Well, I think Pace at this point wants to get his opponent out while he's down right now and step on him early. I think Michael Greco should just play small ball for a while, try and you know, regroup. It's like a, you know, a boxer that's on the ropes.
Raise.
You want to put your hands up in defense. As you can see,
Pass.
Norman Pace continue with the attack. Michael Greco folding. Good call to fold there.
Well, Greco just found out that if he limps, Pace may apply pressure, so he might try and set up a trap here.
Yeah, he might.
Greco thinking, counting, riffling.
You know, there's about, you know, 30 seconds in between hands, maybe 20 seconds. But I tell you, after you've lost the pot like this, it's just, you're trying to gather your strength. It's like the wind has just been knocked out of you.
Raise.
See, and this is exactly what Norman Pace is doing, keeping the pressure on with even raising with the deuce 4.
14,000 more.
Pull the trigger here, Michael, and move in and put your opponent at a decision.
I mean, there's no way that Greco could reasonably think that he could be in such good shape against Pace's hand.
It doesn't, but you know, a pair is big heads up, and I think he needed to make a stand there, but he's still reeling. He's still reeling from the beating he took with the kings against the nines.
Greco on the button, 3,000 to call. And, the limp.
Call.
No raise.
No raise.
Pace giving a free flop. 12,000 in the center. The action will be on Norman Pace, who's missed this, although Greco has as well.
Check. Both checks.
Well, Norman Pace in the enviable position with this much of a chip lead that he can bet with nothing. And that's what he's going to do here. And he'll win all the pots. He'll win all the pots that both players miss. And that's what happens most of the time. So that makes Michael Greco's job doubly difficult.
That is not going to be an easy spot for Greco. And as you say, committed Greco counting right now. Does he have a mental line in the sand right now that he's going to draw? He won't let his stack get below a certain amount.
Well, right now, he mentally is going through a lot of difficulty. You know, he's got to pull himself together.
Raise.
As you can see, Norman Pace continuing with this aggression. And Michael Greco getting no help from the cards now as he looks down at 8 deuce.
Pass.
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting about this game, Jesse, is that it seems like when you make a mistake, and it's hard to say that it was a big mistake with the 2 nines, but it was, that the game punishes you for, in some mythical way.
It's come down to just 2. We're heads up and each of these guys will be feeling the pressure with entry into the $500,000 prize pool for just the winner. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It's just the 2 favourites left, but just 1 seat up for grabs in the first heat of the partypoker.net World Open, in amongst all the pros and that $500,000 prize pool. There's a little bit of history between Michael Greco and Norman Pace, a simmering grudge match in the making. Great friends off the table, rivals on it.
And this will be a real test of his character. Greco will hang on a wallpaper. Will hang around like wallpaper, but sooner or later, Pace may just peel him off.
Right. But you see that he is applying the strategy that I said he really should, which is wait, just slow down, gather yourself until you feel like you've recovered from that beat, and that's exactly what he's done. He's not taking any chances at this point.
Okay, Michael, you have 6 of them.
Greco with 6,000 big blind. We saw Norman Pace raise with basically the AT, any 2. And he's doing it again here.
Right.
12,000 more.
Well, he's taking what the game gives, and Michael Greco is giving everything right now, showing 7 deuce. Now, what's interesting is that the blinds, with the blinds being 3 and 6,000, it costs 9,000 for each 2 hands that you see. And with Michael Greco now down to 77,000, that means that he can see less than 10 hands before he is blinded out of this tournament. So the pressure continues to mount for him to choose a hand to play, whether he likes it or not.
That's a very good point. And even if he picks up nothing here, Kenna, there'd be an argument for him just moving in and hoping that Pace finds less.
Right, and that's exactly what he does, Jesse.
16.
He raises with the Jack 8.
I'm sorry.
Raises 16,000 total.
And now he runs into Norman with the ace. I think at this point, the chips are probably going to go in the middle, just because Michael doesn't have many chips left after this raise. He's actually still got about 50,000, but I think Norman is going to ship him in here.
He's deliberating here. Doesn't want to play against a big ace, but he's got so many chips.
He does. And, Norman Pace also realizes when you go into a pot, you want to be the aggressor.
I got a lot of
you don't want to be the caller. Each opponent assessing each other.
Yeah, that's the only option, mate. That's what I'm considering.
Greco's advised Pace, the best thing for you to do is just to call.
Never hurts to coach your opponent into what you want them to do.
Well, aces maybe. Ace king, pair of 9s. Heads up, you think 9s is not bad.
Not as good as kings, though, is it?
No,
10,000 on
You're right
Pace
there.
right now.
Ace queen would have been nice. 2 queens came in.
No, not with this hand.
And Michael Greco showing some nice talk and table chat to talk Norman Pace out of that hand. I think Norman Pace would have normally moved him in there, but the ease of which Michael Greco was talking in the face of the adversity he was being faced with is what won him that pot.
It's good speech play, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's a debatable topic over here on this side of the pond, is whether talking should be allowed in the hand. And I'm a big proponent that it should be allowed.
It's an unbelievable point. Things have changed a lot. I mean, they call it a moody over here in England, Kenna, and it used to be that if you did what they call a moody, if you talked during a hand, you could just, your hand would be called dead.
Yeah. I just think that, people have different approaches to the game, whether it's straight mathematics or whether it's, a game of people. This is a game of people, talking and interacting is part of the game of poker in my book.
If you don't want to hear people talk, you can play on the internet.
That's right. I mean, talk, chat, try and break down your opponent's poker face is all part of the game in my book.
Yeah, we heard Matt Dawson in here earlier. You said, why does he like poker? He said it's a great social game.
That's right. Here we go. We go to the flop. Jack 6 of hearts for Michael Greco. 10-5 offsuit for Norman Pace, who takes the flop and takes the lead with a pair of 10s, second pair.
Yeah, Greco looking for a jack or 9 here, and he made a nice check. I think he's going to lose the pot right now, though.
Well, I think so.
14,000.
Bullying me now?
Because Michael Greco has
Well,
nothing.
whether I've got the winning hand or not. I can't call that. That's back.
Pass.
You don't have it, Michael.
It was well sussed out.
Michael Greco looking for 2 aces to rescue him here. But back to that point, you know, it's, you know, that it's really, it just makes another dynamic in the game when you're able to talk and gain information on your opponents.
Yeah, these guys know each other well, and they're doing plenty of chatting. As soon as the bets are come.
Raise.
Raise.
I think Greco seems to feel like he's got some kind of read on pace because he hasn't made a move yet heads up without talking to Norman.
He may make a move here, Jesse, and he does. He moves all in with the 2 7s, a pair very big heads up, and he's got pace in very bad shape.
God, he'd love to get a call from pace here. This is a great situation.
It's true, it's statistically impossible, isn't it? I've probably got 2 live cards though, Mike.
Really?
Probably.
So you haven't got a pair then?
No, I haven't actually. No.
Okay, another 51,000.
It's only 51.
Yeah.
Well, you see the chat is
Might be
abound
doubling up.
here.
I know, but if you double up, I'm still dominating you.
Exactly.
So
Let's take a listen.
do I want to double you up? 100,000 chips. I'll have 500,000 chips. Still 5-1 favourite. All right, I got 2 live cards. I call.
Yeah, you got a call, man.
Wow.
He's you saw Norman Pace talk out what was going through his mind, that he has 2 live cards. In fact, he only has 1, and that is a 10, which he will need to end this heat.
Yeah, Pace will get 5 chances to get it right now. And Greco, if he can make these 7s hold up, we'll be right back in the match.
Ace 8-3 is the flop. Pace looking for a 10.
Runner 8 ace would be just as bad.
I hadn't even thought of that.
Wow.
Oh!
It is a 10.
Oh, that's ugly
Norman
for Michael Greco.
Pace.
He must be shattered. He needs 1 card in the deck now, Kenna.
Only 1 card. That's why he only has a 2% chance to win. The last 7 is the only thing that will save Michael Greco as we go to the river.
That's cruel. Although Norman Pace saying, this is poker.
The river card is a deuce.
2 10s hold up, and this one over.
Poker,
Norman Pace catching all the cards here, Kenna.
He catches all the cards. He made the right plays at the right time.
I'm at the moment.
He took the 2 kings. He got them dealt. He got the action.
Norman Pace into the main draw of the World Open.
So close for Michael Greco, that's got to hurt. Let's grab a word from him.
Norman's beat me twice and he's hit 3 hours both times, and I just thought it's going to happen again. And I know you shouldn't, you should always be positive, but you just know it's coming. You just know the 10 is coming. You know, what better, apart from an under pair, what better cards do you want to see, you know, when he's got 1 of his out? I've got 2 of his out. And as they say, through gritted teeth, that's poker.
Well, it's Norman Pace who secured his spot in the first heat next week against the real pros. I'm sure that's not going to worry him. He's over with Kenna and Jesse.
Ken and I joined now by the winner, Norman Pace. Congratulations, Norman.
Thank
You made it look so easy. I mean, the head up, it looked like it was going to be a fierce battle, but you're now 3-0 against Michael Greco.
Yeah, we have a history. So when I had those kings, pocket kings first hand, I thought, if I shove him in, he'd probably think over history because I'm an aggressive player, more aggressive than him probably. He might well call me and I might well have him dominated. And I knew he had a lot more chips than me, so I was going to need to make the move sometime. Why not with kings? And he did call, so the strategy worked very well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say my strategy worked well beforehand because, to be honest, with the 6 of us there, I didn't know what was going on.
Neither did you. No, neither did we. And I don't think some of the players knew either, but it was a lot of fun, and congratulations. You really played well, and you deserve the championship. You played some really key hands very well.
Thank you.
You're going to be in the with the pros next time, right into the main draw. How does your game have to change, or is it you're going to just do the same stuff you do?
I'm going to have about about a day to think about that, Jesse, about whether to... I like to find out how other people play first. I mean, in this heat, that wasn't the case because I was hitting cards all the time, even though they were getting beaten sometimes.
Yeah.
I was losing chips. I was hitting cards, and you can't not play.
Right.
So, you know, if I hit cards, I'm going to play, but I like to suss out what the others are doing a little bit first. So I may be a little quieter than I was in this one.
Well, you sussed it out this week, Norman. Best of luck next week when Norman Pace goes straight into the main draw, $500,000 prize pool here at the partypoker.net World Open.